drunk with lies that made us numb, but you're full of grace and then some. Conspiracies can't conceal me. The comforter will reveal me. Sleep and slumber, y'all wonder like Stevie, like the blind read Braille, y'all gotta feel me. Favor comparison, understand analogy. Confederate against thee, that's a strategy. Trespassed on property like Monopoly. Mob deep cause havoc, but we the prodigy. Full of hate like I wish a nigga would. Wasn't quite living like the way that we should. Aborted fetus like it was all good, but the father spoiled his plans for the parents in the hood. Murder seeds, crafty counsel, that was his plan B. Now we populate the earth, that's God's plan B. Eternal kings and priests, yeah, that's for all to see, yeah, and we dialed in. Thank you, Lord, for calling me.
All this tribulation, Jacob's trouble going through it, every nation had their hand in our ruin, now we made it. Get the faith, didn't break. To the King, we give our praise.
Across the earth, fall the search to call us burst back to the glory. We put in work to quench the thirst we chose from birth, but that's a different story. We left the church to bless the hurt. The quest was first proof, you can't ignore me. Was once cursed with pain and dirt. The scriptures cut deep as Jason Voorhees. They branded us with plantation names. Now we dying over name brands. All these years later, see, aim was changed. Like Damon Wayans, we in major pain. Israel, we done changed the game. Been at it for years. Against all odds, we seen so many changes, but since so many tears. I'm with the gods. For thousands of years, we've been ostracized. And clearly that was just underhanded. We done been tossed aside. They took our land, we was beating and robbed. And all these years later, they still trying to rub it in. And it's not no massage.
All this tribulation, Jacob's trouble going through it, every nation had their hand in our ruin, now we made it. Get the faith, didn't break. To the King, we give our praise.
Taking on the route Apostle Paul, paved the way and saved the grace for all. Casting down imagination's law, tried to write us off a fatal flaw. Yeah, cause the Spirit gon' step in and bring back all the things we forgetting. Comforted the top G's and the brethren, getting equipped with these scripts and the weapon. Austere in the face, Martinique took over the place. Dominica, they couldn't plan for the day. Antigua gave the prophets hope for the day. Yeah, cause the work be working. Edify the sheep, but the ghosts be jerking. Killing all the dots to get the hearse for hearses. Blessing all the people in the curse for worse. I hope you feel it.
All this tribulation, Jacob's trouble going through it, every nation had their hand in our ruin, now we made it. Get the faith, didn't break. To the King, we give our praise.
Okay, living legends, sons of God on the block, I hope they get the message. On this side where they from, I mean it isn't pleasant. From the south to the top, preaching in the trenches, go hard in any setting. Okay, living legends, sons of God on the block, I hope they get the message. On this side where they from, I mean it isn't pleasant. From the south to the top, preaching in the trenches, go hard in any setting.
Mazel tov, tails gon' explode with the Molotov. Fox gon' burn, we gon' set it off. Ishmael, wild man, he gon' let it off. So give him this verse, you can let him scoff. Moab thought he had us since we in the dragon. 1,000 years down, we released the Kraken. Have him running back for safety like we playing Madden. Pull the carpet from the nations, no, this ain't Aladdin.
We got the island on lockdown. Prophets, we all on your block now. From St. Lucia to Antigua, hit 6 islands, touchdown. See how we hitting the scoreboard. Praising my God, he the warlord. We'd have had a perfect 10 if we had hit like 4 more. Heard they watching TV, we gon' make them sit calm. Got a radio show on the go, know it's on. But the day of Rastafari or they quote in the Quran. With my deacon get the teaching, they defeated and they gone.
Living legends, sons of God on the block, I hope they get the message. On this side where they from, I mean it isn't pleasant. From the south to the top, preaching in the trenches, go hard in any setting. Okay, living legends, sons of God on the block, I hope they get the message. On this side where they from, I mean it isn't pleasant. From the south to the top, preaching in the trenches, go hard in any setting.
Going to war, my life in the line, we busting the islands. Powers of God, we better than diamonds. Spirit of Christ, spirit of Judah. Putting up purple, it come with a price. My God is the light, but he coming at night. We making waves. Number 7, talk about work, but it's my profession. God's Thomas, etc. Damn near the whole world. Gotta be dumb if you ever could think you can mess with us.
Damn near the whole world. Gotta be dumb if you ever could think you can mess with us.
We live in legends, we superheroes. Make them villains sick, they possess with patience zero. No, we can't quit, we be the prophets. On a boat, but we take off like rockets. Coast to coast, nations getting smoked. Don't care if that's on cold because that's just how it's rolled. See, I got my lethal weapon. With the hand I'm backing, boy, I'm about to teach a lesson. Go out like a living legend.
It started back in 03. The bishop hit the street, there wasn't no guarantee. Was hard work on concrete till the job was complete. Ain't no action like Jackson. We do this for the blacks in the land. Is that asking about eternity? In their history untold, we reveal it from the new and the old. Living legends foretold. Preach. See them people from the east. Revelations 18 and 24. Babylon about to blow.
Sit back and watch it grow. See prophecy unfold. Sit back and watch it grow. Babylon about to blow.
Hey, okay, living legends. Sons of God on the block, I hope they get the message. On this side where they from, I mean it isn't pleasant. From the south to the top, preaching in the trenches. Go hard in any setting. Okay, living legends. Sons of God on the block, I hope they get the message. On this side where they from, I mean it isn't pleasant. From the south to the top, preaching in the trenches. Go hard in any setting.
Drop the anger, it's getting heavy. They tried to rip us, but the scriptures turned them to confetti. We on the block, and we breaking chains like the levy. Kingdom to go when we kicking it just like we miss it. Ready? Like the full moon, we chase the tide. Lion to Judah, Israel, yeah, that be the pride. I came in with the 12, yeah, you see the tribes. No house niggas in the field, yeah, we be outside.
Hey, we be outside, but forever going in. Yeah, we going live, prophecies in the wind. Ay, Holy Spirit to the fringes. If I said it, did I meant it? All work that I mentioned, gotta go hard to the pension. I know that we some living legends. Never take a loss, just keep living lessons. Spirit vexing, sometimes you get lost. Better get your blessing, it is destined. Boy, the world is yours since the intercession. In a second, you can lose it, dog. Don't let them intercept it.
I'm trying to be in control. There's people that grow, there's people that stop, there's people that comfortable being enslaved. They live in the grave, they live in the plot. The plot is keeping us in this religions. We making decisions, believing a lie. How you expecting to be in the know when you been living up under a rock? Make it hot, like we boiling, like we seething in the pot. We the salt, they absorbing every season, and we got make it stop. Sick and tired of all these heathens trying to copy. No matter how hard you try, you could never ever stop me. Cause life of a living legend, looking like I got ascending, flourishing with understanding, sharper than a two-edged weapon. You can never call me Saul, cause I'm rolling in a mind of Paul. We the doctors of law, and we gonna answer the call. Yeah, all you need to know is we ain't never gonna find it. Till you sober up, then you'll be no longer blinded. We the greatest thing you will ever see, cause you're looking at a God and you're looking at a king. Now hold my crown and hold my chalice. We about to restore balance. Come and get a moment of silence. We about to bless the islands.
Okay, living legends. Sons of God on the block, I hope they get the message.
There's a special place that I like to go when nobody's home, to increase my understanding, my daily bread that amazing. I'm talking about precepts, precept on precept, line upon line, precept on precept, line upon line,
babe. I can't keep explaining, can't study for you. I can't think of nothing, wasn't nothing gonna change.
We are not a hate group. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a non-violent, Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat, as stated in Leviticus chapter 5 and verse 1.
Hey, Shalom Israel, Most High in Christ bless. Welcome to another edition, Precept upon Precept. Checking in with your host, I'm Captain Shem.
Officer Yasser. Officer Thomas.
Also, Solomon.
Hey, so Israel, before we start, you know the deal. Donate to the Booster Club. You see our mighty bishops, deacons, captains, and officers traveling the world. We're on so many missions. I lost track. It's way in the hundreds. They got men out there right now doing great work. And the way that they're able to go abroad and travel throughout almost every continent, I think except for Antarctica, we're in every continent, is because of y'all, your generous charity, and your passion for us pushing this truth. So we thank you, Booster Club. Real quick, before we, we'll do that later on that link. Tonight is Halloween. I was in Walmart shopping around, and you can't believe how stupid these people look. You got grown-ass people walking around with bumblebee costumes. It gives these hoes a chance to dress up like a damn big teddy bear with leotards, all a bunch of weird stuff out there. And it's one day that the freaks get to come out and be accepted. It's a wicked thing. We're going to touch on it a little bit later. Let's pull up the thumbnail real quick. So, Solomon, do your best to tell us what is going on here.
Okay, right here we have the least of the flock's hardened heart. The final war draws nigh. So here it seems we have the ICBM missiles, and you have your heads of these different countries, and they are initiating their warheads for the final war.
Hey, and so tonight I have a clip with Mr. Scott Ritter about they have actually 5 minutes. Once they get the call where they have to make a decision, Scott Ritter goes into what it will be like for the President of the United States or any other president that actually has to press the button. We're going to go into that tonight, so that's heavy. And you can see here the least of the flock. You know what's heavy about this is any time, first of all, human life should be valued, right? But anytime anything happens to an Israeli child or a family, you get their backstory, you get tears, you get grief. But the thousands and thousands of Palestinian children that have been blown apart in pieces, we don't know their names, we don't know their stories,
right? Showing
you that the least of the flock, the Edomites, they value only white life. That's what we see here. And so we got a heavy show. We're not going to get to everything. I want to start right in order. Okay, I sent you a lot. Everything is in order and time-stamped. Number one, brothers, please feel free to say, but we have an agenda. We have a lot to cover, and a lot has happened since last Thursday's show. A whole lot, just in this 7 days. 5 more seconds. Okay. All right. Solomon, real quick, get me the one in Sirach that says, watch and pray. As you see these things occurring, as you see we're living in the end days, we have to get our mind right. And despite us, our personal problems, our problems in our marriages, our congregational trials, we have to press on. And it's not going to be easy. Your walk will not be easy. So we have to watch and pray. You just pull that up. I didn't.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 13 and verse 33.
Is that? I thought it was one in Sirach. Go ahead, read that.
Take ye heed, watch, and pray.
Heed to what? Heed to the signs of the times. Look around you. Look around you. We've got, tonight we have a former United Nations weapons inspector is warning the public. We're about to be a nuclear war, okay? And we're going to get into that tonight. So watch and pray. Watch and pray, all right? So we're going to start with number one. We're going to roll on. Brothers, feel free to make comments. Play.
To late-breaking news from the Middle East. Israel is striking Iran tonight. It's in retaliation for Iran's attack earlier this month when Tehran launched 180 ballistic missiles at Israel. Nick Schifrin is following this breaking news. Nick, what are you hearing from your sources?
Jeff, tonight the Israeli Defense Forces have made a statement confirming that, yes, they are attacking Iran. And I'm just going to read part of that statement right now. In response to months of continuous attacks from the regime in Iran against the state of Israel, right now the Israel Defense Forces conducting...
Let me just clarify something. It was not an attack on Israel. Israel attacked Iranian targets in Syria and other countries. They bombed them. So Iran was responding to the attack that Israel did. It was a retaliation in response of Iran. So just be very clear about that. The media has amnesia. Read on.
Strikes on military targets in Iran. The regime in Iran and its proxies in the region have been relentlessly attacking Israel since October the 7th on 7 fronts, including direct attacks from Iranian soil. Now, to keep that up for 1 second, I want to focus on one word: military targets in Iran. That has been the source of the debate, of the discussion, negotiations perhaps between the Israeli government and the U.S. government. Israeli officials told me when I was there during this Iranian attack that they wanted to have a very, very large response to reestablish deterrence, in their words. The U.S. wanted to prevent another round of ballistic missile strikes. Those ballistic missile strikes that we saw on October the 1st were the second round. So U.S. officials argued that in order to prevent a third round, Israel couldn't attack 2 things: nuclear sites or energy sites. And that apparently is what the...
Later on, you're going to find Biden almost allowed that to happen. And if that happened and they attacked Iranian nuclear facilities, we'd be in a nuclear war. None of us would be here right now. That's how serious it was. And the U.S. finally said, nope, Israel, if you attack this, then what would happen is Iran would launch the nukes it had, and what's going to happen is Russia is going to back up Iran, and guess what? The U.S. is going to back up Israel, and that's what it's all coming down to. So what he just said, that almost happened 5-6 days ago, what he's talking about. And everybody else is focused on Donald Trump and Kamala Harris and Halloween and stupid sports. That's what we all care about. And P. Diddy, about how his trial's going. When nuclear war is as close as it's ever been, even closer than the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962, even closer than then. Okay? Play on.
Has convinced Israel to attack military sites, not anything else.
An Israeli response had been expected since the attack at the start of this month. What's been happening behind the scenes over the last 3 weeks?
It's been that discussion of what the targets are and why the U.S. is trying to limit or at least restrain relatively what Israel might target. That said, Jeff, military targets could be a lot. There are hundreds of military targets all over Iran, and so we don't know any specifics about this Israeli strike yet. And I will add that Israeli officials are worried that Iran will respond again to this, and they do warn me that if Iran responds to this one, then some of those limits might be removed.
So pause real quick at this map. So what we're going to find is that when you look at Israel, which is in the peach color or whatever, orange color, they had to fly over Jordan and parts of Syria and Iraq to attack Iran. They did not have permission over Iraqi airspace. Thank you. And because they don't need permission from anybody. And all while this is going on, Saudi Arabia is still hosting major economic events with BlackRock. So the Arabs are still not all together. Saudi Arabia was not at this. A lot happened this week. In Russia, the BRICS had the annual summit meeting with all, real quick, do me a favor. Pull up, I'm going to send you something. Yeah, brother, say something real quick, please.
And just to say something real quick, he mentioned that Israel, they didn't want to pursue, but here it is right here that there's an article where Netanyahu said that he will continue to bomb until they get their what they want to do with their military in Gaza and Lebanon. They're not gonna stop. That's when they want to get their peace, and we already know that they're trying to fulfill the prophecy in Deuteronomy chapter 11. So they're not gonna stop. I'll read this real quick. It says, Israel plans to pursue peace agreements with Arab countries after its military goals are achieved in Gaza and Lebanon. So So that means they're not gonna stop bombing these people until they achieve what they want to achieve.
Hey, Officer Akim, I sent that to your personal. Do you want me to send that to the Precept upon Precept tonight content? Where do you want me to send it to? So look, I just mentioned about Saudi Arabia not being at the convention that was in Russia. So we've got a war going on between Israel fighting Hezbollah to the north, Hamas internally in Palestine, which is in the land of Israel. They're fighting the Houthis, which are in Yemen, and they're also fighting the Iranians. That being all said, guess what? All these countries are meeting. They met this week, or I think it was last Thursday and Friday. They met in Russia. Look at the number of countries that are meeting. Why? Because they want off the U.S. dollar hegemony, meaning it has the hedge on the whole world, meaning you have to trade to the U.S. dollar. All these countries want out, okay? Read some of these names.
BRICS News. Don't miss what's happening. Just in, leaders from 36 countries posed together for a picture during BRICS Summit. India, China, Russia, Brazil, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran.
Stop. Iran was there, right? Now, these are the original and a couple of the additions. Now, Saudi Arabia is the next on the list. They were the only Arab major power that was not there. They were entertaining U.S. businessmen, like companies, like corporations like BlackRock in Saudi Arabia. Those of you who watch the news, it's a big deal. They've got a huge $40 billion plan that they're bringing the white man in. And read it. Continue reading.
Saudi Arabia, South Africa, UAE, Armenia.
UAE is the United Arab Emirates, as some of you may have remembered from previous shows.
Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Bangladesh, Belarus, Bolivia.
Now, Belarus is a European country. So we can see that it's not just all Asian countries. Belarus is a European Caucasian country, showing you the shift is going away from the U.S. dollar. And when BRICS started about 20 years ago, they had 5 countries. Look at it now, y'all. Pay attention to what's going on around you. Read on.
Bolivia, Congo, Cuba.
Oh, there's a Caribbean country. Come on.
Indonesia, Kazakhstan.
Now, Captain Matt, and we talked about Kazakhstan. They started to try to rise up in Kazakhstan, which is bigger than the Ukraine, right south of Russia. Putin sent his troops in and destroyed that uprising. They tried the same crap that they're doing in Ukraine in Kazakhstan. Now, Kazakhstan is meeting with Russia with BRICS. Read on.
Kyrgyzstan, Laos.
That's an Asian country.
Malaysia.
Another Asian country.
Mauritania.
African.
Mongolia.
That is right south of China. It's on the south Chinese border. Read on.
Nicaragua.
I'm starting to see a pattern here. That's a South American country or Central American country. Read on.
Serbia.
Uh-huh.
Sri Lanka.
Ooh, that's south of India right there.
Tajikistan.
Mm-hmm.
Thailand.
Another Asian country. Read on.
Turkey.
That's a banger right there. Turkey. Later on, member Erdogan. Y'all, if those of you watch the show, you're going to remember Erdogan is the president of Turkey, another Islamic country. I had to read on.
Uzbekistan.
Uh-huh.
Venezuela.
Another South American country.
Vietnam.
Another Asian country.
Turkmenistan.
Uh-huh.
And Palestine.
Interesting how the Palestinian had a representative there in Russia. Yes, sir.
To just let you know, you probably already know, but our viewers, Russia and China are buying up all the gold. So this currency is going to be backed by gold. And guess what? As of right now, gold is around $2,700 an ounce.
Wow.
That's how high gold is right now. And the higher gold gets, the less the American dollar is.
Right, because remember, the American dollar is not backed by precious metal or gold. It's backed by a Federal Reserve note, which they can print money and fight a war and start a war and just take people's stuff. That's what the U.S. does. This is showing you the unity. This was our last show was on the 24th. It actually went, as the show was going on, it was going on. We didn't have the updated news, but they were meeting last week. Today is the 31st, and now we see the outcome of what's going on. This is the alternative to the EU. You've got NATO and the EU. The European Union, NATO is the military side. This is the beginning of the EU's version of unity amongst the nations. And it's not just, it is South American, Caribbean nations, it is East Indian nations, it is Asian nations, and it is a lot of Arab nations and African nations. They want an out. They don't want to be tied to the U.S. dollar. And the U.S. is not having it. So
Right.
This is why the U.S. is very happy to back Israel. Because if they lose Israel, they don't have a foothold in the Middle East. So don't make me think that you think that, oh, Netanyahu's running America. They're allowing that to happen.
Right.
They're allowing that to happen. Now, I went off on a tangent. Go back to the first one, and I'm gonna move on. Remember about the airspace. Come on.
Nick Schifferner, thanks to you. We appreciate it.
Thanks very much, Jeff.
Okay, let's go to number 2. So, we get off the yes, sir.
Yeah. So what I noticed doing that interview they were doing there, and that the verbiage that's being used, that's what we have to pay attention to, as they always say that they're being attacked. Iran is attacking them. Right. But we know this goes back to 1948 and even before that they invaded those land, and that's what they up against. They're trying to root them out, even though the land isn't there either. But they're trying to get Israel out. But Israel wants from the, how do they say it, from the
river to the sea.
River to the sea. They want it all. They want Iraq. They want all of it. And so little by little, they're going to come to the understanding that they're not going to stop bombing. Look at the inhumane killing they're doing in Lebanon. They're not hitting military targets. They're killing men, women, and children who have nothing to do with the military.
Right.
Hey, and so to watch this, so obviously Yasser brought that out, and it's a perfect segue. I don't even know if you checked out what we was going to go into, but that's exactly what we're going to go into. Go on to the number. You don't have it labeled, but it's the next one. It is? I just looked. It's not labeled on tonight's content. Okay, cool. All right. So now, is this an article? I believe so. So Yasser just mentioned they're not only killing people in Lebanon, they're still being genocidal maniacs and killing people in Palestine. So let's read this article.
Israeli strikes reportedly killed more than 150 northern Gaza and Lebanon.
Now, remember on the map, do a map of Israel, please, because Gaza borders Egypt, and Lebanon is north of Israel. They're fighting and killing Arabs on 2 different areas. They're slaughtering them, okay? Slaughtering them. Now, what you're going to find later on is they're fabricating some of the numbers. It doesn't change the fact that they're killing Arabs, but the Arabs are also, in the words of Scott Ritter, waxing the IDF as well. So you look at Gaza. Gaza is right next to Egypt, right? Right on the strip. That's prime real estate, right? If you back out a little bit, now look at Lebanon, which is to your 12 o'clock. Tyree, see Tyree up there? They're fighting on that whole front, and they're killing a lot of Arabs in Lebanon in suburban places as well. Remember, when they're launching, if you look at this map close up, they're launching missiles. They had to go over Syria to then go over Iraq, parts of Jordan. And that's like if someone were to come and try to shoot a missile over the U.S. to hit, say, Canada, it'd be an act of war, right? They don't care. The white man does, well, I'll shoot over Syria. I don't give a damn, because showing you that they don't have any power. They don't have any power in their own region.
Right.
And it's going to take a lot, but they're going to have to all rise up together. But we're seeing, as we go, more and more and more. I'm sorry, I'm talking fast. Let's go here.
Israeli strikes reportedly killed more than 150 in northern Gaza and Lebanon. The attacks are carried out as the humanitarian situation in both places worsens and ceasefire talks resume with no expected breakthrough.
When it says humanitarian situations, I've got a couple of articles we're going to go into tonight that the Israeli forces, aka IDF, Israeli Defense Forces, they're killing people in United Nations peacekeeping and refugee helping agencies. And some of them are Esau killing other Edomites. And we're going to show you that tonight. The IDF, the Israelis, do not have a heart. Their heart is hardened. They don't care anymore. You're going to hear some terrible things tonight. Read.
More than 150 people are reported to have been killed in Israel's latest attacks in northern Gaza and Lebanon. At least 93 Palestinians were killed when an Israeli attack flattened a 5-story residential building.
Now read that again.
At least 93 Palestinians were killed when an Israeli attack flattened a 5-story residential building housing displaced people in northern Gaza's.
This is why you know Esau is a liar. We just read the first article saying, well, we're trying to only bomb things in Iran that are only military targets. That's a lie. They're bombing this last couple of days. They bombed a residential building. That's suburbs or inner city. They don't care about that. They want to kill the enemy. They don't care. They don't have a heart. And God's doing it all. God's allowing Netanyahu and his cabinetry of military defense men and Secretary of Defense to have a mean-spirited heart. Why? That's how he's going to bring in the U.S. in this. That's how nuclear weapons are going to be deployed. God is allowing all this to go down.
And the Israelis are basically just racist. That's what they are. They're trying to genocide the Palestinians and the Arab race completely. And that's what it's based on. And that's why the U.S. is backing them. Is like you said earlier, they got a foot in there. That's why they can be in there with the oil and all that's going on, the money.
Yep.
But they're racist, and you can even see some videos with them over there showing that 3-finger racist sign that they show over here, the white power sign.
Hey, later on tonight, Officer Yasser said we're going to prove it. Scott Ritter, a Caucasian former UN inspector, Marine Corps general, is a recount of one of the funerals and how evil these people are. And we've got proof after proof after proof of them saying in classrooms, teaching the children that what are we going to do? We're going to kill Arabs. They're the ones who teach their children at a young age. And we're going to prove it to you tonight. I think that was all we wanted. Let's go to the next article. So already the hypocrites, we're just attacking military targets in Iran. When they're bombing, 93 people died this last week in Gaza and in Lebanon. And they're destroying residential communities. So they're a bunch of damn liars. Okay, here's another one.
Horrific Israeli bombing of Gaza's Beit Lahia kills at least 93.
Actually, I think this may have been the same, but now we get to see some images. I think we're going to see some blood. So if you got some kids, please don't. If you got a sensitive stomach, or if you don't like to see dead bodies, please tell your children to turn their heads. Okay, this is from Al Jazeera, so they're going to allow. Go ahead. And 25 of these were kids.
And the crazy thing about it is, Cap, is some of the Israelites, they saying that they not doing enough. They not killing enough people over there.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it just goes to show you that these people don't have no heart, and they're going to do whatever they want to do.
Those are balconies where people would eat their breakfast and have cups of coffee out in the back. Those are residential neighborhoods. They obliterate. Okay, there is no humanitarian. They don't have that. You want to know why? Because just like the Egyptians had no heart. Why? God is making the Israelis and the U.S. for that matter, because the U.S. could shut it down like that, make them have hardened hearts. That's why, listen, whoever gets in office that's coming up on Tuesday, if you think that whoever gets in power is not going to back the Israelis, you're crazy. God is going to make it go down.
Right.
I heard that conversation at work today that if Trump gets in, he's going to end these wars right away. It's going to stop instantly. And I asked somebody, I said, well, it didn't start just yesterday. This has been going on for 60, 70 years.
That's right.
And the interest over there, just like it is in Africa, is resources and all those things involved. That's not going to change no matter who you get in. Trump made Israel a state.
Right.
He gave them statehood.
I remember that.
So he ain't going to back out on them. He's going to back them. And Kamala Harris, she's in with the economical people, the war people who making money on it, so nothing's going to change.
And if you think about it, let's just think, if I'm an Edomite and I know my kingdom is going to end, what power do I have in the Middle East? I have a little bit of play with Saudi Arabia, right? My power comes from, I have a base that I have Israeli defense. All my Air Force, I can go park my weapons. I'm right there in the Mediterranean Sea. It's the perfect logistical space to launch attacks to these other places. Without Israel, they don't have what they need. They need Israel, and Israel needs the United States. So they work hand in hand, and Trump will never. They will lose a hold if they lose Israel. And this is why the fight is what it is. And America's got to seem like they're being neutral. They're not neutral. They're sending them hundreds of billions with a B worth of weaponry throughout the years. Not tens, hundreds of billions of dollars. Okay? It's absolutely amazing. Next one. I'm going a little fast. I know. Where's the...
Yeah, Joe Biden said, if there wasn't an Israel, this is a young Joe Biden. He said if there wasn't Israel, we'd have to invent one. That's because they needed to get in.
I remember he said that. Yes, when he had a little bit of hair left and he wasn't as crazy as now. That was on a show we brought up. He said if there was not in Israel, we would have to create one. So showing you that the United States depends on that as their, what's the word when you have, it's like in the military they call it's their forward post. That's what Israel is, the eyes and ears in the forward post of the U.S. Army. Just like, why do you think that the U.S. took Hawaii? It's because they like pineapples and no, because it's the perfect point. That's why when they bombed Pearl Harbor, that's what elevated World War II.
Right.
Pearl Harbor is close to Japan and Russia.
Right.
That's why why do you think they took Alaska? Because they like cold air? No, because guess where Alaska is? It's right across during the Cold War from Russia.
That's right.
Why do they have bases in the Philippines? Why do they have bases in North Korea? Why do they have over 100 bases in Japan? When shit goes down, their Air Force and the Naval Forces right there. They got fleets right now in the Mediterranean Sea and in the Persian Gulf right now. Y'all got to say, we are living in the last days, and y'all better wake the hell up. Now, Hezbollah, recently, pull up a map of Lebanon. I gave everything by 2 o'clock today. Pull up a map of Lebanon. You would think that they only want to attack countries on the coastline. Beirut is right on the coast, like Gaza, right? No. Now they're bombing towns eastward. Balak, blow it up. Baalbek. If you look at Baalbek, right, you can see it's definitely more northeast. Circle it. See, Beirut is on the coast. They bombed the hell out of that town this last week. Didn't make the news. And in that's one of the oldest cities in the whole region. It's thousands of years old. So keep that in mind. Now, they were fighting, you see, even south of where Tyre is, that's where all the fighting took place at first. Then it escalated. Then they went all the way up to Beirut, which is the capital. Now they're going as far northeast as Baalbek. Now, let's read the article. A lot has happened, man. They're not showing you nothing on the mainstream news. Y'all got to search out. That's Al Jazeera English. They're going to give you a little bit more news than Esau. Okay? Read.
Hezbollah
already? Damn. Come on.
Hezbollah says we'll only accept suitable truce as Israel pounds Baalbek.
So we just saw the map. Y'all saw the map. It is a northeast city that is in a map. Look at what they did to this place. It's about the obliteration of Arabs. You said it exactly right, Officer Yasa. And by the way, pull up a map of the Middle East. I got to show you this. We said last week, wouldn't it be convenient? I want you to blow it up, go right to the Sinai Peninsula, which is in between Egypt and Saudi Arabia. Blow that up. Esau is not stupid. They are business-minded. Can you blow up a little bit more, please? Okay, now, the Suez Canal runs, if you look at going up the Red Sea, it forks left and it goes up through Egypt, right? And it is one of the major routes that cuts time between the European countries and the Indian Ocean. You with me? Well, guess what? If they see the fork to the right, if they were to where does that end up? Oh, that happens to be right in Israel. So where's the shortest exit point to the Mediterranean Sea? The Gaza Strip. These people don't care about the Arabs. They have an agenda, and the Arabs are in their way.
Right.
And guess what? Like, I made a prediction. Wouldn't it be ironic if, I don't know, say a couple thousand tons of TNT happened to blow up the Suez Canal right when it finishes getting built? Now, where do all the millions and millions and millions of dollars per day? Who gets the benefit of that? It's not the Arabs who were in that land in 1917 before the Balfour Declaration came into play, before the so-called Jewish men came in 1948. They want the river to the sea because they're greedy dogs. And what they do is they run the earth and they can do whatever the hell they want. God's allowing them to do all this. Why? Because the Arabs are going to unite, Russia's going to go off, and we're going to be delivered.
Right.
We may see a war, a nuclear war, 5, 6, 7 years from now. We have no idea. All right? Now, jump on to the next one. Well, there's a lot to cover, probably 3 shows, but real quick, read this second, not this paragraph. No, go up above. I'm sorry. You were right. This paragraph. Oh, yes, sir. Hezbollah new leader, please.
Hezbollah's new leader, Naim Qassem,
right, because they killed the old one. Read on.
Says that the group will keep fighting in its war with Israel until it is offered ceasefire terms it deems acceptable. As Israeli forces...
By the way, why is Hezbollah fighting, you at home, why is Hezbollah fighting the IDF? Do we know why? Because they're indignant and outraged at what's happening to their Arab brothers in Gaza and in the West Bank. So one of the terms that they want is stop all fighting of our brothers in Palestine, allow them to get recovered, allow them to get their own state. They're not stupid. And the Israelis are never going to do that. So Hezbollah's like, if we don't get what we need, we're going to keep fighting y'all. Read on.
Hezbollah's new leader, Naim Qassem, says that the group will keep fighting in its war with Israel until it is offered terms it deems acceptable. As Israeli forces bombarded the ancient eastern Lebanese city of Baalbek.
Right, the ancient eastern city about, I wonder why they're bombing that. Why would they bomb a country city? I don't know. Maybe it's got something they want to take. It's going to come out later on. Just remember that. They don't just attack. Why would you attack someone all the way to the northeast when you're trying to take the coastline? It's more than that. They have an agenda. They have a deep demonic agenda. Now, go to the next one, and we're going to go to deal with Halloween. Okay. Okay. Now, watch this. I sent you a Wikipedia link for the acronym UNRWA. I want you to, we're going to pull that. Solomon, read that, and we're going to go back here because the Israelis are bombing international peace organizations this week. Read.
UNRWA, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees in the Near East.
Come on.
Is a UN agency that supports the relief of human development of Palestinian refugees.
So they didn't just form yesterday. They're there because why? The Palestinians have been being oppressed for years. So this organization is set up to help an oppressed people, a.k.a. Palestinian Arabs. I want you to remember that. Now, Al Jazeera, this is from 2 days ago or so, actually, I think less than that. Watch what the Israeli forces are doing to this United Nations. Guess where they're actually located? Some of their offices in the United States of America. And many of the countries that are involved in this are Caucasian countries. I'm showing you. The God doing all this. Read.
Intolerable, dangerous precedent. World condemns Israel's UNRWA ban.
When it says the world, they're talking about the white world. No one gives a damn what people in the Sudan, and no one gives a damn what people in these brown countries think. When it says the world condemns, it's talking about the Irish and the French. When white people start to not like it, that's what they mean. And we're going to show you that. Read on.
The United Nations and countries across the globe have denounced Israel after its parliament passed 2 laws that brands the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, a terror group.
So this is how, you mentioned earlier, obviously, Yasa, they're beyond racist. They're psychopathic. There is a United Nations, and guess who's supposed to be on that and run that and facilitate it? Some Americans, right?
Right.
They labeled them as terrorists. Now they're fighting them. They're trying to get food and protection to an oppressed people that are fighting with sticks and small arm fires against 5,000-pound bombs. This is, if this ain't the Most High, y'all, you got to see. This going to get so crazy. The only way is going to be nuclear bomb. There's nothing else. The bombs are going to be dropped.
Cap, so we know that it's true that they bombing those people because the earlier article said they killed 150 people. Yes, but only 95 of them were Palestinians. Who were the other 67?
Right. Some
55.
Some of them are, and we got proof. They're killing Caucasians who are trying to help the Gaza, people from Ireland and people from other Caucasian countries and other countries that are deemed, that were set up to protect the victims of war. They are refugees. They were taking these Arabs. Not that, listen, I'm not pro-Arab. I'm not pro-Israeli. I'm pro-God. And God is allowing all this to go down. They were giving orders for, remember, people from, they started to bomb North Gaza, and they said, move down south. Like 600,000 of them or more migrated down. Then they bombed them when they went to the relief camps. These people are psycho. They're genocidal psychomaniacs.
No. Oh, go ahead. Let me just get one script. Amos chapter 1 verse 6, because what they're doing to them is evil, but it's also of the Lord. It's a judgment for what they did to the children of Israel. All right, read that for me real quick.
This is the book of Amos, chapter 1 and verse 6. Mm-hmm. Thus said the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Gaza, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof.
See that? God said He not going to turn away their punishment. This is their punishment. Let's see why they being punished. Read on.
Because they carried away captive the whole captivity to deliver them up to Edom.
So the Arabs took our people and gave them to Edom. This is God's judgment for what they did to us. So even though what the Israelis are doing to the Arabs is evil, it's a judgment from God. We always say that God is a user, and right now He's using the Israelis to punish the Arabs for us, all right?
Facts. And as we see tonight, we're going to show you, go to, we done with that one? Not yet. I want to deal with one, I'm sorry, give me 1 second. Go to, do we read it? Okay. Now, I want you to look up the UNGA, the United Nations General Assembly. Just Google that real quick. So, We read before about the Palestinian United Agency. Israel also is threatening and attacking another national agency. This is why when you see us say that they are, the scripture said the bastards will dwell in Ashdod, when you read Zechariah. They claim that they're the people of God. They don't have a father. Because any God-fearing person why would you do that to these people? They don't have a father. They don't have a God.
Right.
Their God is, they think they are the gods. Esau said, God said about Esau that they shall rule by the sword, and their dwelling should be the fatness of the earth. That's why they want all these coastal cities. That's why they want the control of the alternative Suez Canal. Read that. We're going to go to break soon.
The United Nations General Assembly is one of the six principal organs of the United Nations, serving as its main deliberative, policy-making, and representative organ. Currently, in its 79th session, its powers, composition, functions, and procedures are set out in Chapter 4 of the United Nations Charter.
This is not an organization that was invented yesterday. They have a long history. It is supposed to be look at the doggone assembly hall. Look how formal that is, right? So just to 79 years, so it was 19 right after the closing of World War II. This was invented to what? To help the United Nations. Watch what the Israelis are doing to people that represent the United Nations General Assembly. Watch this next article. Erdogan, I think it's Erdogan. I'm giving you the blitzkrieg right now because there's so much that has happened in this week, and it is such a it is amazing how stupid the American people really are. Unless you search out alternative news, unless you actually do your homework, you will never know. The world right now is moving away from the U.S. They all, even other white countries, are like, these guys are crazy. Okay? Watch. This is the president of Turkey. They had a meeting in, is it Constantinople? I forget the name of the city it is now. Whatever it is now, the main city in Turkey. Huge.
Istanbul.
Thank you. Istanbul. Used to be Constantinople. They had hundreds, we showed it on the show, hundreds of thousands of people protesting the violence in Gaza. Why? Because they're an Islamic country.
Right.
The Turks. Watch this. Watch what he says. Watch what he says.
Güvenlik Konseyi gerekli iradeyi göstermezse genel kurulun 1950 tarihli barış için.
Run it back.
Yeah.
Can you read that? It's kind of tight.
If the Security Council
Şayet Güvenlik Konseyi gerekli
does not show the necessary resolve,
iradeyi göstermezse genel kurulun
the power to recommend the use of force as provided
1950 tarihli barış için
in the General Assembly's 1950.
So stop. We just read it. It started in 45. In 1950, they set up international powers to regulate and control if countries got out of order. He's like, look, we need to evoke this. They're out of order. And what he's about to say. This is how you know, judges, when it says give me that Job 9:24, please. This is how you know that the white man runs everything. He can create a law. Then when you try to press him, when he breaks his own law, it don't apply to him. This is how you know he's in control of everything. Just like Egypt was back in the day, they make their law. You're going to press Egypt and their empire? No, you're not. Read.
The book of Job, chapter 9, verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
So if the earth is in my hand, I make laws. I change them as I see fit. You don't like it? I'll make up another law. Watch, we're going to show you. Play the tape.
olduğu gibi
Uniting for Peace resolution.
kuvvet kullanma tavsiyesinde bulunma yetkisi süratle
should be swiftly invoked.
devreye alınmalıdır. Şayet
So he's basically saying there's laws in the Security Council of the General Assembly that we can use force to deal with Israel. That's what they're talking about. Remember behind the scenes, we showed you 36 BRICS countries. You think that they're not talking about things behind the scenes? Russia, China, India, Turkey, all these countries. And guess who else was in that meeting?
Palestine.
You on point. Palestine was there. You see how God is creating the master scene? And all along, you got the U.S. right in Ukraine, in Russia's backyard, fighting the war right now. The U.S. is actually launching missiles into Russia. You got Israel. God put it on Netanyahu's spirit, along with his Secretary of Defense, to attack Iranian places in Syria and Jordan. Now, Iran lost 180, which Officer Yasser said 3 shows ago. They gave you the chump stuff. They sent a couple hypersonics. They give you the lightweight stuff and they drones, and they still touched the Iron Dome. God is allowing all this to go down, and we're seeing it.
Right.
I know it can be for some of you like, okay, damn, like this is so doom and gloom. It is. It's doom and gloom. We're at the end of times.
Right.
Okay, end of times.
What's ironic about the so-called Jewish people? They're supposed to be the Holocaust, where they were treated so bad. 6 million. Well, now how can they justify what they doing and then try to talk about what went on in the past? They're worse than the Germans were purportedly to them.
Right.
They're doing worse to genocide young children. They weren't doing that in the concentration camp. They were killing adults, basically. And a lot of them was from Poland. They weren't even Jewish people. These people going off and unchecked.
Right. Hey, and I'm going to tell you something. This is how they're going to check the U.S. And we pray that the Most High, number one, our job as Israelites, as all this goes down, is to not commit adultery, not steal, not lie, to honor the Sabbath and keep it holy. If we as righteous slip and fall, we must stand back up in the commandments. We must honor the laws of marriage. We must honor the high holy days. We must honor the brotherhood. Okay? When we do these things, our God's going to fight for us. Right. We have no power. We have no power. A lot of us can't pay our light bill sometimes. But as you see these things happen, we know what's going on. We know the signs of the time. We understand. Now, there's another article before we go to Halloween. It was about, matter of fact, go to sleeper cells crossing the Canadian border. So you think that these Arabs don't remember the war of 2006 between Lebanon and Israel? You don't think that they remember 1968, 1948? They had children. Their children's children saw the acts of aggression. They remember their grandfather's stories, and they are doing something about it. A lot of times we hear about terrorists crossing the Mexico border. But check this out. These Arabs are also infiltrating from the north. Now, this is alleged, and I believe it, okay? Illegal immigration coming from Canada to Vermont. They don't got a big border patrol up that way. Watch this.
I don't know if you guys have seen the trail cam footage coming out of Newport, Vermont, but it's pretty wild. Now, just to be aware, the Newport Dispatch published an article about this on the 24th of October. So you can verify this on Google. Just Google trail cam footage from Newport, Vermont, and you'll see like this. Apparently people have been crossing in there.
I want to point out, not that I'm going to stereotype, but not many Mexicans from South America are going to be crossing the Canadian border, right?
Right.
Because they're coming from the warm climates. And that gentleman looks like he has a turban on his head. And there is a huge population of Arabs in Canada.
Right.
Toronto, Ottawa, Toronto's a huge city. Not that hard to drive to a remote place in Vermont on the border.
Right.
But there's no 12-foot, 15-foot fence. And the reason why we're learning about it is because these are Edomites hunting trail cams. So if this is one random place, you don't think these Arabs got funded and funded and funded and are coming across the border, and they have sleeper cells everywhere. And look, just pray that you're not there when they decide to blow stuff. I pray the Lord that we don't get touched.
Right.
But they here. And if you think that they're not crossing, then what the hell is this? Wake up.
To your point, Cap, you already said they got Arabs in Toronto. How you think they found out where to go? They told them, look, all you got to do, come this way, and you good. They letting their people know how to come in.
Right.
These caterpillars, they're telling them, look, y'all need to come in. Y'all need to come on.
Right.
And Toronto is what they call a world city. There are very large population of Arabs. And when I say Arab, it is a blanket statement to include Palestinians, Saudi Arabians, United Arab Emirates, parts of Iran, Iraq, Yemen, Oman. It goes on, and Palestinians. All the Muslim Arabs. And I'm telling you, I went to a store one time, and I asked a guy was working, his name is Palestinian at the junkyard. I was looking for a part for a brother's car to help him out. Hey, brothers, you're talking too loud, bro. You're talking too loud. And I know they're doing their job, but it's disturbing me. And what happened is, I asked the guy, I said, I asked him, you're Arab? He said, yeah. I said, where you from? He said, from Palestine. And all I said is one word. I said, what do you think about the Israelis? And this dude he was sincere. He just started telling me stories. And it is truly, they're being oppressed to the point where you cannot kill the ideology that's inbred in them. And when they see the children, there was one show we did, a father was taking a piece of his child's skull and his arm and putting them together and crying over his body. And they didn't see that back in '68. They're right there on TikTok. And they're putting it up for the world to see.
Right.
Esau can't control the media anymore. That's why they try to lock up the CEO of Telegram. That's why they came after Elon Musk. Because now, by the way, the ratings of CBS and NBC, they're all plummeted. They're a quarter what they used to do. The common man has taken over social media. And this is a trail cam where you'd have to get on with Dan Rather to get anyone to see this. Nowadays, that goes up and anybody can see it. This is a TikTok, whatever the hell it is, Instagram. And now we're watching it tonight and we're doing a show on it because that was something they couldn't ban this. All right, so, all right. This is what we're going to do, brothers. You got a transition for Halloween? Hey, stick around. When we come back, we're going to cast down Halloween. Shalom. Y'all get your scriptures ready. I only want to speak
We the sons of God, we don't back down. I take it to your face, I tell you right now. Step up to the count, we ain't backing down.
Tonight is so-called Halloween. And let me tell you something, or some people call it the witch's Sabbath. Let me tell you something. This is something that we're not going to spend a lot of time on. All of your homework tonight, okay, turn all the lights up, don't let nobody answer no trick-or-treaters, and blast this show, okay? This came out years ago. The lead bishop, Bishop Nathaniel of IUIC, did a wonderful class on the origins of Halloween. It is an hour. I could never cover it as well as Bishop did. Watch that video. Watch the video in its entirety, study the video, and learn from it. Okay, he gives you some sources and some other books you can look into, and I really think you're going to enjoy it and learn a lot from it. All right, so please check it out. That's your homework tonight, everybody, and spread this video around. Now, give me Colossians 2:8. Now, look, myself, Officer Yasser, Thomas, and Solomon, I know I'll speak for me. I did that trick-or-treating crap. When I was a kid, I went to houses. My mother let me go to different houses, strangers' houses. I dressed up and all the different things, bob for apples, all that stupid stuff. I came from that. You came from that, right? Your brothers came from that, you know? Colossians 2:8.
This is the book of Colossians, chapter 2 and verse 8. Beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit.
How would you be spoiled to the point where you allow your child to dress up as a fictitious character and go to people's homes that they don't know and take candy from someone, and some don't even check the candy? Sometimes they poison them with needles and razor blades and inject things in the candy. That's how sick people are. Read on.
After the traditions of men.
That's what it is. Halloween is not a tradition of God. It's not a commandment of God. It's a tradition of men. Stay away from it. Read on.
After the rudiments of the world.
Right. What is this world? This world, oh, it's just for the kids. Don't worry about it. Get in the spirit of Halloween. Acting, they look like, that's why I love when you pass somebody and they dress up in a costume, I look down and make them feel embarrassed. Get damn wicked as hell. Read on.
And not after Christ.
It's not after Christ. Jesus Christ said, listen, don't follow this world, okay? I'm going to show you an example. There were, in the book of Acts, chapter 19.
The book of Acts, chapter 19 and verse 19.
Check this out, because many times you hear things in Halloween that have to do with witches and warlocks and spirits. And you'll see when you dress up as a certain, like I saw a kid today in the Walmart, he was dressed up as a dinosaur. He sees another kid across the thing, and he's like, dinosaurs unite. And the other kid starts friggin', and the parents are looking around, and they're like, they're in the spirit of a dinosaur. Like, they wouldn't normally do that. When they dress up that, they take on the spirit, man. It's real. It's a demonic holiday, holy day, holiday. Read.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 19 and verse 19.
Watch this.
Many of them also, which use curious arts.
That's the point. What is a curious art? That is things like necromancy, things like familiar spirits, okay? Things like sorcery and witchcraft and things like Ouija boards. All that is curious arts. Read on.
Brought their books together.
Because a lot of the books, they got one book made out of human skin. Bishop brought that out. Made out of human skin. Evil books. Wicked, demonic books. Read on.
And burned them before all men.
What were they doing? They were repenting. If you take a book that you believed in and you practice curious arts and you take that and you burn it in front of men, you're saying, I'm done with this. I'm done. I'm done with this. Like when I found out about Christmas, we threw all our Christmas stuff out. We threw it all out. She threw all her dresses out, throw it away. I mean, pants, all the pants done to make dresses. Some of the pants you cut up and make a dress out of it. Read on.
And they counted the price of them and found it 50,000 pieces of silver.
Meaning, what does that mean? That they were invested in this curious art. They had to walk away from it. And guess what? It was valuable to them at the time. So Halloween may be valuable to you, right? You got to walk away from it. You may have a whole business that focused on just Halloween. You made all kind of money in Halloween. Or you may have, that was your favorite time of the year because you got to dress up and you used to host big Halloween parties and make a couple $1,000, and that was your time and you came up. Listen, you got to cast it away. Cast it away. Go ahead, Solomon. Brothers, please bring something out.
Give me Ecclesiastes 7:7. Because here in our captivity, we like to have a party and dance and joke about every damn thing, not knowing the origins of what this stuff come from. Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, birthdays, everything is a party for our people. Read that for me real quick.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad.
So God says oppression makes a wise man or a woman mad. You look at Halloween and you see how low of a state our people are in, and you want to celebrate something like Halloween, wasting your money on candy and gifts. Read it again. It said what?
Surely oppression maketh the wise man mad.
We are oppressed here in America. So why are we out here dancing and joking and having Halloween parties and doing all this wickedness for no reason? Read on.
And a gift destroyeth the heart.
All these hell days have a gift. Halloween, you get candy. Christmas, you get gifts. Thanksgiving, you get food. And that's what our people love to turn to. We love to, banqueting and reveling. That's all our people love to do. Right. Just like we reveled in all those different gods back then, we doing it the same way today.
Right.
Big facts. Big facts. Go ahead, Yasser.
Deuteronomy, it was 18.
That's it, brother. I had it listed. Bring it out. I had it listed. Hey, look, why, obviously I say getting that, right? Here's the thing. This is a real quick session. I want you to watch the video because the video is going to make you want to look further into it. Like when you read about Sam Haynes, when you read about the ancient Irish and Celtic origins, they used to kill people. They would kill and sacrifice people. This meaning behind a jack-o'-lantern, this meaning behind bobbing for apples, this meaning behind the witch's hat and the witch's broom. It is all demonic. It is all, and guess what? It's of the devil, and guess what? Our people learn that garbage from the other nations. So we're not to do that. Bring it out.
Go ahead.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 18 and verse 10. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that uses divination.
That uses what?
Or that useth divination.
Go ahead.
Or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch.
Or a witch. So one of the most prominent figures during Halloweens is witches and goblins and so forth. Even in Exodus, it said that if the witch was amongst us, they had to be put to death.
Right.
These are so-called Christians, followers of Christ, out here got their children dressed up as demons, murderers, Charles Manson, Diddy.
No
you
Diddy.
name it. They got them dressed up as everything. And I was in Walmart like you, Cap, and I was depressed. And I thought about, I think it's in Jeremiah where he saw the future and he saw us in such bad condition. And it looked like we were in a ghetto inside of Walmart. Our people were fumbling over the trash, trying to get little outfits for their kids. It was pitiful. It'll make you almost break up and cry. Walmart don't care about you. They serving you that stuff to keep you in slavery.
Big facts. Look, we could keep going and going. Watch Bishop Nathaniel. The origins of Halloween. It is a you can sit down and really study the thing. And if you have, watch it again. And then some of the books he brings out as secondary sources. Hey, you can, if you want to know a little bit more about it, that's the place to learn. That's where I learned from. That's where we all need to continue to learn from. There's other videos that IUIC has that supplement this. Please check it out. And don't celebrate Halloween. It's of the devil.
Right.
So with that, Israel, we're going to break. We'll be back. The second part of the show. Shalom.
You are now flying.
We the sons of God, we don't back down. Looking good, I take it to your face, I tell you right now. Right now, step up to the count, we ain't backing down. Looking good, step up to the count, I tell you right now.
Hey, shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ bless. My name is Captain Shem, IUIC New Orleans. Help us to grow. YouTube page, subscribe, like, share, hit the bell notification. And now it's even easier, y'all.
Hey, and also part of New Orleans Camp, we got the community cleanups. Cleaning up our neighborhood one at a time.
What y'all waiting for? Subscribe.
What are you waiting for? Subscribe!
There's so much wrong going on in the world, but somehow we keep it all smile.
Subscribe and follow us on all social media accounts. We got TikTok, we got Twitter, we got Rumble, and YouTube. Make sure y'all follow IUIC New Orleans. Shalom.
Hey, also, we got flyer missions every day and also camp videos. Check us out, IUIC New Orleans.
So remember, go to our YouTube page, subscribe, like, share, and don't forget the QR code. When the QR code comes out, don't forget to take your phone out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Why isn't it done? Shalom, Israel.
Shalom Israel, Most High in Christ bless. Bishop Nathaniel here. Hey, March 2025, we're going to have a Land Blitz fundraiser. So what I need you all to do is hit the QR code, whatever that thing is right there, fill it out on all our social media platforms, because we blitzing. We need this land. We got to get this fundraiser done, Israel. I'm trusting you. Get it done.
Cap, what's a land blitz fundraiser? Exactly what it is. We blitzing for the land. One day, with a large goal, we're gonna raise the funds for the land. That's my goal, that's my mission, and we're gonna make it happen. And I need your help to get it done. There's a link on the Bishop's Instagram and all of our social medias. Click on that link and fill it out. What you're going to do is, you're going to estimate what amount of donation you can make on this one day. On that day, you can also make random donations. But those of you that are watching this video now, we want to get an estimate of how hard we're going to have to go when we blitz. There will also be an in-house event. Y'all remember the Journey to Freedom? This is going to be bigger and better, live from Atlanta. You better get your tickets now, because probably after this announcement, it's going to be sold out. Only 400 tickets. But guess what? All the funds are going to the land. So get it now. Get it now.
Captain Zakar here, the North Carolina A&T Blitz. And God sent them here. Time is short. That they need to make haste and come back to him.
Israel United in Christ is here to teach them their real homecoming, to come back to their God, come back to the commandments, come back to their Messiah. Now that is a real homecoming.
As you can see behind me, we got a lot of debauchery. We got women dressed half naked out here. We have buying and selling, breaking the Sabbath. Nobody caring about the Lord's Sabbath day.
I mean, we got a boatload of captains. I'm talking about a whole bunch of captains, a whole bunch of power in the building. Leadership's here, the word of God flowing.
We come, the men of the Lord behind us, we come to give the solution to our people. What we must do to get out of this captivity, to restore ourselves as the nation of Israel.
Stay tuned for the footage. Shalom.
Assistance to enhance our national broadcast. Kindly spare a minute to provide feedback by answering 5 brief questions. Thank you for your support.
Hey, Shalom Israel, welcome back. Tech guys, could you please throw the thumbnail back up? I want to, our viewers that might be coming on, Solomon, if you want to kind of explain real quick again to those who may be tuning in.
Yes, sir. The least of the flocks, hardened heart, the final war draws nigh. So here, as we've spoken of, we have these different countries. And you also have Esau in there as well, that are actually, they're sitting there waiting to push the button if they haven't already. And it's headed towards Israel.
All praises. So look, we're going to go to the very next in order. I've got the 2 major ones I want to get to are former Colonel Douglas McGregor and Scott Ritter. These are the 2 heavy ones. All right, so the next one. Because remember, the UN General Assembly, that is who Erdogan, the Turkish president, like, look, if these guys can't, we need to invoke force to stop Israel. So what? Let's read a little bit about this, please.
What is the UN General Assembly? The General Assembly hosts a much-watched debate of world leaders annually. Its 2024 meeting is expected to emphasize climate change, the Sustainable Development Goals, and the wars in the Gaza Strip and Ukraine.
Do we have a date on this? Because I thought it was from 2 days ago. Okay, this is, for some, I thought it was newer. Okay, but last month.
Introduction. Since its inception, the UN General Assembly, also known as the UNGA, has been a forum for lofty declarations, sometimes audacious rhetoric, and rigorous debate over the world's most vexing issues.
And what is the world's most vexing issue right now that has Irish parliament members cussing out in their forum, that has college students protesting on the lawns of U.S. universities, that have hundreds of thousands of people throughout the world in Australia, Japan, all the European countries protesting free Gaza? That's a pressing issue, right? Erdogan's like, hold up. We got laws set up. Stop these guys with the force using this law. They can't do a damn thing. We showed you Job 9:24. Esau run this whole thing. God allowing them to do all this. Harden these folks' heart. Okay? Well, almost done.
Including poverty, development, peace, and security. As the most representative organ of the 193-member United Nations headquarters from September to December, and convenes special sessions at other times to address a range of issues. The 79th General Assembly session in 2024.
This is almost 80 years of this. This is a prestigious international organization that deals with pressing matters of the world. Erdogan, who is a major power, is saying, what are we doing? Why aren't we sending force in to stop these people? It's falling on deaf ears. We're just showing you this. This is what's going on. This was last month, okay? Let's go to the next one, just to show you what's going on in the world. What is the next article? I believe it was, actually, hold up real quick. Now you got them in order now. I see it. Al Jazeera, yes. Yes, now, is that the one with the tank? So here's another organization. One is in Lebanon that they're attacking. One is in Gaza that they're attacking. Let's read about another one. Another United Nations peacekeeping mission in Lebanon now. How many times did they get targeted this month in October? Let's find out.
UN peacekeeping mission in South Lebanon targeted 30 times in October. UNIFIL attributes 20 incidents to the Israeli military.
Stop. Did we look up UNIFIL already? Look up UNIFIL. These are all united organizations that the Israeli IDF, the so-called Jewish men in Israel, is attacking. How come this is not making international news? Sean Diddy Combs makes international news, and the so-called Jewish, they call themselves, they're the chosen ones, are attacking United Nations peacekeeping? Why isn't this being plastered on every damn news station? Because they control all the news stations. The narrative you see as them as their victims. They're the ones who were attacked. So they had some people were kidnapped, and you killed 43,000 Palestinians, 2/3 of them women and children?
Right.
Are you serious? But like Thomas said, God allowing all that to happen. It's a judgment.
And the reason they're attacking
Bring it back on Yasser.
The reason they attack the United Nations and all of these different forces is because they can't have witnesses. These are war crimes that they're doing.
Facts.
And so they want them out. They don't want them to have any record of what's going on, because at the end of the day, when it's over, they'll be looking for Netanyahu and all of these people to put them in prison. But meanwhile, these 40,000, it's much higher than 40,000. We heard 40,000 about 5 months ago. So it's probably up near 100,000 that they've already wiped out. And they're going to be held
accountable. Those are the
accountable.
murders, but don't forget the thousands upon tens of thousands of seriously maimed and injured that are going to be injured. Not only that, all of them Palestinians have PSD. They all have post-traumatic. You have to move in a time of war, not knowing if you're going to survive. They have destroyed the minds of the Palestinian people.
Scarred.
You know? So now, here's another United Nations. Read it. Watch this.
United Nations interim force in Lebanon. Is a United Nations peacekeeping mission established in March 19, 1978 by United Nations Security Council. Resolutions 425 and 426 and several further resolutions in 2006 to confirm Hezbollah, demilitarization, support Lebanese.
So the point is, it's 46 years old. They didn't invent it with the this recent attack on Lebanon. This is set up, and you have multiple countries within out of the United Nations, and they have been attacked 30 times by the Israeli Defense Force this month. This month. Now go to the article. You can't, listen, you can't make this up. So when you say that Israel is evil, this is why. And these are reports. And by the way, it is not a white, but the reason why I say white and black is because the term white was given to me. The term black was given to me. Other white or Caucasian nations, they're being targeted by Israel. And a lot of their leaders are irate. Okay? Read it.
UN peacekeeping mission in South Lebanon targeted 30 times in October. UNIFIL attributes 20 incidents to the Israeli military, of which it says 7 were clearly deliberate attacks.
Yeah, and the other 10 were probably by Israelis that were unmarked uniforms.
The United Nations interim force in Lebanon, UNIFIL, has recorded more than 30 incidents in October, resulting in property damage or injury to its soldiers.
So these are United Nations soldiers. They have a battery armored vehicle. Why? Because they're in war. They're trying to help the people of Lebanon who are being victimized. They invented that in 1970. I'm showing you that this is how you know that God is allowing this to happen. There is no justice in the earth when it comes to this man. He is a vagabond and a terrorist wherever he goes. And he's never paid for his crimes, and particularly for the crimes he's done to the children of Israel. Okay? So I want to, what time is it? Is it 11 o'clock yet? Okay. Let's go back to that article. I think that's pretty much, we got the last two we're going to get into. Heavy.
Real quick, let me get Psalms chapter 36 and verse 3. Because we got to understand something. We talked about it before that, you know, everything that these people are doing is the Lord bringing forth these things in order to get us back into our kingdom. All right? Read that real quick for me.
The book of Psalms, chapter 36 and verse 3. The words of his mouth are iniquity and deceit.
And that's what we showing y'all in these articles. Everything these people saying, these so-called Israeli people are saying, are lies and deceit. Everything they push in the media is lies. Read on.
He hath left off to be wise and to do good.
None that these people do are good. None of the things that they do are good. Read, come on.
He devises mischief upon his bed.
That's going into your think tanks. You know what I'm saying? Like we said before earlier, what they trying to do is fulfill a prophecy on their own. Remember, God said he was going to put us in our land. He didn't say man was going to put us in our land.
Right.
Read on.
He
Read
said it. Verse 4. He devises mischief upon his bed. He said it himself in a way that is not good. He abhorreth not evil.
They don't hate evil.
Right.
They love evil.
Right.
And that's the things that we showing you right now. These people love to do evil. That's all I got.
Hey, we're about to that's perfect, because I'm going to show you. Now, this is why it's not IUIC and the Israelites are saying this. I'm going to show you former well-respected senior military officials who were entrusted at high-level positions that are now telling the truth about. And they are what they call true patriots, in their words, and they're blowing the whistle on the white man in Israel. And on the U.S. government that is being used and using Israel. So I have it all timestamped. I spent a lot of time on this. I don't want any, Now, this is Judge
Judge Andrew Napolitano.
Right. So this guy, Scott Ritter, we've had him on this, not on the show, but I would love to have him on the show if he would ever call in, but we maybe reach out to him. But this guy here is a former Marine and a chief, not a regular guy, a chief former United Nations weapons inspector. He was in Iraq. You see younger pictures of him meeting with the presidents and everything of that nature, being an advisor. He was one of the guys who were going and looking for weapons of mass destruction. Didn't find any. Okay? Hit the first timestamp, please.
That program, you made an incredible argument about how close we all are to nuclear war. Can you summarize that argument, please?
Well, I mean, in summary, we're literally just one bad decision away, either made by Joe Biden in signing off on giving Ukraine permission to strike deep into Russia, or on the United States greenlighting Israeli action targeting Iranian nuclear leadership.
Pause. Remember before, at the beginning of the show, I said, remember that point, because that's why the U.S. advised them, you better make sure you don't hit the nuclear facilities, because guess what? Some people in the U.S. wanted to do that. They said, if we do that, it's going to be World War III. Scott Ritter's pointing that out, and he's going to point out a whole bunch of other things that this guy should be, if anybody has qualified, he should be the guy advising the U.S. on how to move. After you hear him, this is why they will never allow him on primetime TV. Play.
Infrastructure, a bad decision by the United States in seeking to, take advantage of perceived Chinese weakness and promote Taiwan independence that triggers military conflict. Either way, any one of these scenarios will instantaneously take us down an irreversible path that will inevitably lead to a general nuclear war. There is no such thing as limited nuclear war. Once it begins, it will spin out of control, and it will be the death of us all.
Pause. So now, this is why throughout the Bible and times in history, Isaiah lived at a different time than John the Revelator. They saw the same thing. There were many, Isaiah has times when he talked about the smith that created the waster. They described these times to come. So we know for a fact that it's going to happen. The thing is, when is it going to happen? Christ said, no man know the time. But that's what we got to watch, pay attention, and everything, the stage is set. Y'all, we got to get our minds right, because there's a very good chance we will experience nuclear war in our lifetime. Okay? Our lifetime. Get your mind right, Israel. Play on.
Had Joe Biden signed off on Saturday, for instance, allowing Ukraine to use U.S. weapons, our Sunday brunch would not have occurred. We'd be all dead. That's how quick this will unfold. And so, I don't want to be accused of fear-mongering, but I do want to put the fear in the hearts of every American so that they understand that there are consequences to elections. And it's important that the people we empower through our vote to lead us embrace policies that are designed to preserve the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness that we all aspire to pursue.
Now, we know that voting is not going to profit us any, but he's an Edomite American citizen that really believes in the principles of the U.S., and he thinks that voting can get them the right people. We know whoever gets in the office is going to fulfill prophecy, like Officer Yasser said earlier. Now, next timestamp, this is going to get heavier.
Weapons, and it will be an order from the president directly to the commanding general strategic.
What he's going to talk about now is the decision that the president of the United States will have to make when, if and when it's going to be a decision of nuclear war. Like if Russia launches something, they used to have 26 minutes. He has 5 minutes to make a decision. Now, picture yourself. This is the president. Imagine the scene that's going on. He's going to describe it. This almost happened last Sunday. If the U.S. allowed Israel to launch rockets, ballistic hypersonic missiles at Iranian nuclear facilities, that would have launched a nuclear war. That was last Sunday. We're the average, we don't know nothing. Okay? Play.
Military command that owns all of our strategic nuclear weapons, and it will be an order from the president directly to the commanding general strategic command.
And there's obviously no standards. There's no checklist for the president. He's just going to give that order because somebody has told him you better do it, and you better do it now.
No, actually, what will happen is they will open up the briefcase, and the president will have, they already have prepared little cheat cards, 3x5 cards that have different war plan options. And what will happen is the Secretary of Defense and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the National Security Advisor say, Mr. President, we recommend that you...
They're in the room. You got all these important men, and now they're like, Mr. President. They got different cards, and they're going to be explaining, this is what's going on. We're going to do this, do this. Watch what he says. Play on.
Plan B in this scenario. It's a range of options that meets the threat. Ideally, you would like the president to have some time to talk through this. But given the realities of nuclear weapons, especially with the advent of hypersonic weapons, what could have at one point in time been a 12 to 15 window of deliberation before the president had to issue the order has been shrunk down to less than 5 minutes. And again, in Annie Jacobson's outstanding book, Nuclear War Scenario, she talks about what these 5 minutes will be, which is disbelief on the part of the president. Is this really happening? Mr. President, you must open the suitcase. But is this really what we're talking about? Mr. President, you must open. Now he opens. Well, what options? If I do this, the world is, Mr. President, we are running out of time. You must make a decision, Mr. President. We have 30 seconds until, they cross the line and we can't make.
And so what John saw, what Isaiah saw, remember, get me Isaiah 46, verse 10. God knows which person is going to give the order at what time and who's going to press the first button. He knows all of that. This is why, if you know you're an Israelite, we know we're the Israelites. Yes, we got to overcome a lot. And the Most High he's never going to make your life easy in this truth. It's hard to just get through the day sometimes. But if the path to the kingdom was that easy, everyone would get there. There's a selected few. Many are called, but few are chosen. Your path is going to be hard. It's going to be a narrow, straight path. And it's never going to be comfortable. There's going to be a lot of trials and tribulations. Listen to this.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 46 and verse 10.
Read.
Declaring the end from the beginning.
So before he made the mountain ranges, he already knew how it was going to end. Read on.
And from ancient times, the things that are not yet done.
The real bombs, the ICBM, hypersonic, nuclear, have not been dropped yet. But he already knows what's going to happen. Read on.
Saying, my counsel shall stand.
Right. And here's the thing. As much as the international community, through these organizations, through the United Nations all these three organizations that are trying to help Gaza and Lebanon, it doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what laws and how they they're going to do it anyways. Why? Because God's counsel is going to stand. There's nothing they could have done to talk the Egyptian when he said, I'll let my people go. And then he said, nah, I'm not letting these niggas go. I'm going after them. God allowed that to happen. No matter how much his advisors like, yo, Pharaoh, what are you doing? Let him go. Those are God's people. You saw all the miracles with the wand and the snake and the plagues. God's with them, Pharaoh. Onward. And that's exactly what the Israelis and the United States is going to do. And he going to make them bombs drop. Read.
And I will do all my pleasure.
And he thinks it's a beautiful thing. It's a pleasurable thing. Why? Because he's going to take the sons of God who are low, the niggas and spicks of the world who are devalued at their job, not seen as important. He's going to rise us up. for the prey. And this is why this should increase your faith, because get me Psalms 91. And we're not going to even finish McGregor because we don't have enough time. But we got 20. We're not doing fatback attack, Nehemiah. Good. Psalms 91. 10,000 in the left, 1,000 in the right. This scripture should, in conjunction with the three holy children, give you an understanding of the power of God. Read.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 91 and verse 7.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Read.
1,000 shall fall at thy side.
Right. And this is not talking about bow and arrows and maces and friggin' battle axes. That don't kill 1,000 people at one time. I'm talking about this egg falls at your side, meaning they was there, boom, they drop. Read.
And 10,000 at thy right hand.
10 times that number on your right side, showing there's so much destruction. It's incredible. And by the way, if someone else is 10 miles away, that's going to happen over there too. You hear someone else is in California, it's going to happen everywhere. Read on.
But it shall not come nigh thee.
Why? Read.
Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked.
So we're going to see their destruction. We're going to see all that destruction going down. We're going to be protected. Why? Because remember how a father, right? A father protects its young. If you think about a bird, he protects the young. It's showing us that we're going to be protected. How do we know that's true? I'm not going to get it, but in the book of Daniel, they saw a fourth man in the fire. And the guys that were dropping the wood above, they got killed from the heat that went up. It was such a hot fire. And that's why when they came out, their clothes wasn't even singed. That's impossible. No, it's not. It's not. We will be protected from thermonuclear fire.
Right.
That's heavy. You gotta understand something. So when you get depressed, there's a lot to be depressed at. I get depressed every other day. I get depressed. You should be depressed. You should have been depressed in damn Walmart today and see that crap. Okay, our women walking around looking like a bunch of charlatans and harlots. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. And most of the black women are fat. It's ridiculous. And you fat back lard asses better lose the weight. There's my fat back chat for tonight. Read on. But it not should come to you. That's it. Go to his next timestamp. So Scott Ritter is saying the president, he's got to make it, Mr. President, make a decision. Make a decision. Because if he doesn't press the button, undo, maybe one button launches 26 missiles from California to that way. There's different plans. But once you launch one nuclear, you think they're going to be launching nuclear weapons at Ethiopia? You think they're going to be concerned with Sri Lanka and Laos? No, where their targets going to be? Russia. China. And guess what they're going to do? China got nukes. Iran got nukes. Russia got a little bit more nukes than the U.S. Once the first nuclear weapon is deployed at that land, do you think they're not going to fire back? They are going to fire back.
Right.
And they're not going to fire back one. They're going to dump on us. And that's when the bomb's going to drop, and either you're going to be burned or you're going to be protected. Something to think about next time you want to jerk off to pornography. Yeah, you know what I'm talking to. Yeah, something to think about. Read.
The IDF suffers some serious setbacks in southern Lebanon in the past several days.
The IDF's goal was to launch an attack that would be about basically would take control of a large chunk of southern Lebanon. The goal was to push Hezbollah out of this, to push Hezbollah beyond the range of their of some of their rocket bases, thereby creating peace and prosperity so that Israeli settlers could go back into the northern settlements. 60,000 of them were displaced. They were supposed to be 20 kilometers deep by now inside southern Lebanon on a front of about 100 kilometers. They've penetrated a couple hundred meters in areas.
Pause. They have not even made it a kilometer into Lebanon. This is why they are causing damage with their long-range missiles. What he's about to drop, and why would he, as an American Caucasian, former U.S. Marine who is patriotic. He's telling the truth. And what he's about to say is even some of their elite commando units are getting their ass kicked. Play on.
They haven't taken over a major town yet. They continue to be ambushed as they push in. Their elite forces are being hit. Their armored forces are being hit. And the bottom line is Hezbollah has basically pounded them to a standstill and is now punishing them with continued rocket strikes, not only inside Lebanon, but in the force assembly areas in Israel. So as Israel brings up reserves to come in and replace the forces that have been beaten to a pulp in Lebanon, they're being hit by Hezbollah rockets. And instead of being able to bring 60,000 settlers back in, tens of thousands more settlers are fleeing.
So I want you to hear that. So this is why a lot of the Israeli citizens, although they don't like the Arabs, and like Thomas brought out, they realize that they're about to lose. And when you lose, what does someone do that they lose? The America's going to have to come and step in. They're not going to allow them to go out like that. 60,000 Israelis have been displaced. He just said that tens of thousands more are now being displaced. Why? Because now the war is, they hit a stalemate, and when the reinforcements come up to the rear to get rid of it, they're bombing them, which means now the zone of safety for the Israeli citizens is going more and more south. I'm telling you, pay attention, read on, play on, sorry.
This is an absolute disaster for Netanyahu. You know, he ran a few trick plays early on, the pagers, the assassination of Nasrallah, the killing of his...
We did shows. These bastards sent a whole shipment of pagers and cell phones and blew them up at the same time and killed grandmothers and children, blew eye sockets, that was a cowardice act of war, okay? It's got rid of, we covered that. That's what they did, and it looked like Israel was, no. They've been planning since 2006 from the last war, and he said they know every bit of terrain, every hill, every low point, every mountaintop, they know everything. And they're beating the Israelis. Now they're still hitting long-range missiles, and they hit the town we showed you earlier in the northeast, and they bombed the hell out of Beirut. But when it comes to taking Lebanon, they're only allowed to shoot missiles in. The Hezbollah has got them on lock, and they haven't even made it 1 kilometer in. Play on.
The leadership, thinking that this would win him the war. Hezbollah has proven the fact that they are a very resilient resistance movement that has very deep layers of leadership, and they have a battle plan that they're implementing, and right now they're beating the Israelis head-to-head in a stand-up fight in southern Lebanon.
Now pay attention. I know it's a lot of content tonight, but okay, all right.
Reported that Gallant sent the letter to Netanyahu.
I have to put some backdrop. There is a internal disagreement between a guy named Gallant, who is a Secretary of Defense for Israel, and Netanyahu, to the point where during combat, he's writing a letter that the public can read about how he feels. That you don't do that in war. That's like our Secretary of Defense writing in front of everybody about Biden. You don't do that. That stuff is behind closed doors. There's internal conflict within the Israeli government. And that's why Netanyahu's doing, because once he loses power, they're going to lock him up. Something's going to happen to this guy. As long as he's at war and he's in power, he's got power. But watch what he's about to say.
Security cabinet hours before the Israel attacked Iran on Friday. So, I mean, over here, that would be inconceivable that the defense secretary would be attacking and challenging the president in a written publication in wartime.
It just shows the total disarray that exists in the Israeli leadership and the Israeli government because of Benjamin Netanyahu's stance, which again, when Gallant says there's a lack of strategy, he's talking about the lack of a military strategy attached to what would normally be rational national security related issues.
Right.
But because this is about preserving the political legacy of Netanyahu, The strategy that Netanyahu is pursuing is completely different from the one that Gallant would like to see pursued. And so Gallant is calling them out. And this is becoming expensive. We're talking about, Israelis are losing, up to, 10 soldiers a day in Lebanon with scores wounded. These are casualties that cannot be sustained by Israel. And they're losing them in some of their most elite units. The Igaz unit is a elite commando unit specifically trained.
Pause. The best of their best. I want to quantify this for y'all at home. Their best commando units is like the Navy SEALs, the Delta Force, the Green Berets, the Army Rangers, Marine Corps Raiders, Air Force Pararescue. These are the best of the best, and they're getting waxed. He's going to say waxed. Again, let me remind you, this is not us. This is a former United Nations Chief Inspector and Marine Corps officer who is entrusted to inspect for the United Nations. He's saying it's not us. Play.
To operate in northern Israel and southern Lebanon, and they're just getting waxed by Hezbollah because, as I said before, Hezbollah has been preparing for 16 years for this fight. Every valley, every stream, every wadi, every hill is an ambush site already prepared by Hezbollah in advance.
Is there one more timestamp? Okay, look, there's another one. And then we're going to go to McGregor, okay? Another Edomite, top guy, okay?
Behavior, which is so un-American like. What
this is to the point where Thomas said, and you said earlier about being racist, and you said they do. Watch, he's going to describe one of the IDF soldiers that died at his eulogy, which is a funeral honoring. Watch, and this, by the way, is normal. This is not abnormal. This is the way a lot of these people talk. Listen, again, Esau telling on Esau. Watch, this is, those of you who think the white man loves you, you're wrong. If he does this to the Arabs, you think he loves your black guy, he don't care about you.
Right.
He stole your nationality, stole your language, stole everything, added different words to a language that was ancient, brought it back, said he's now through the movement of Zionism, he claimed our land. Okay? Play.
Doing right now, open genocide, open murder, mass murder. They just did a funeral for an Israeli soldier where his brother and soldiers in arms came up, and this is supposed to be the eulogy they give. We remember when you volunteered to go into Gaza and you said, I'm going there so I can kill every Arab man, woman, and child I see to get revenge. They're saying this as if it's pride. We remember as a joke to cheer us up how you blew up that Palestinian home. We remember how you shot that Palestinian farmer and murdered him. And they're saying this is good things. This is the sickness of Israel.
Pause. Do you think that they learned that in the IDF? Or do you think that they learned that from children? We had a show earlier where in the classroom they were showing and talking about their views on Palestinian Arabs. We're showing you that this is a God-inspired hatred that is going to culminate to the point where it's going to be so bad that even the Saudi Arabians and these other Arabs, they're going to remember their nature, and there's going to be a war. They're going to attack certain facilities. Russia is going to get involved. And once the nukes drop, and Russia, Iran, North Korea's got nukes, okay? China's got nukes. Once one drops, again, it's going to be major power. It is going to lead to all-out war. That's why we said, and pull up the thumbnail again. Y'all got to really see. This is why when we hear things about brothers cheating on their wives, brothers getting, look, and now you can recover. The Lord loves some of y'all. Brothers getting drunk and beating the hell out of their wife. We should not be named. Brothers are driving hours to commit adultery and not planning on marrying a sister, committing fornication. These are things that should not be named amongst us.
Right.
Israel. Brothers addicted to pornography. And doing that while you're proving a sister, it's going to corrupt your mind, man. It's going to corrupt your mind. You got to repent. Play.
This is why America today is being hurt so bad, because we've attached ourselves to this cancer that is infecting not only the Middle East, but the entire world.
So that is now the next video. Again, stay with us. It's a lot. Y'all got to, if y'all have been tracking, I make references a lot about other shows. We have been tracking this for since before the war started with Russia and Ukraine. Before that, this was all leading up to this. Okay, this is the same judge, and he brings another guest called Douglas McGregor, colonel, high-ranking colonel. This guy's sharp. And all these are timestamped. We're going to close out with this.
Appreciate that, Colonel. Switching gears over to Israel. Colonel, Israel apparently caused little or no damage to Iran last Friday and Saturday when it responded to what Iran had done 10 or 12 days before. But it did turn around and call off its second and third planned strikes, according to our friend and
Why did they call off the second and third strikes? The second and third strikes were going to target Iranian nuclear facilities. If that would have happened, he said in the last one, we wouldn't be eating Sunday brunch. This was 5 days ago. These are real events that are happening now. We never know when the bombs are going to drop. We don't know how many people are sealed. If you think that there might be only 1,000 more people that need to be sealed, we don't know what's going on. Get your minds right, and that includes us sitting here. We sick. We got to get our minds right. Yes, bring it out.
Yes, sir. Can I get a script, Cap? Based on what you're saying, because what on Sunday that things could have just been already arrayed. Let me get Revelations chapter 7 and verse 1, because the reason why things are not going the way that what could have happened is because of this. Read.
Revelation chapter 7 verse 1.
Come on.
And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree.
Because right now, those 4 winds are the angels that are holding back. They are the ones that are keeping Netanyahu from, making these decisions, and also the U.S. as well. So these things are going to happen, but only in the time where the Lord sees fit. And that goes back to that Isaiah 46 and 10, which Cap brought out earlier, from the beginning to the end.
Read verse 3 real quick.
Verse 3. Saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads.
So we know that this war not going to pop off until all the servants are being sealed. But remember,
right,
there are certain things that got to happen to the prophets before these things take place. Remember, we got to still get persecuted.
Right.
Some of us are going to get put in jail, and some of us are going to get put to death.
Right.
That has to happen before these wars pop off. So understand that we showing the wars and the rumors of wars. That's where we at right now. And we documenting it right now in live history. Wait.
Right.
1 Thessalonians 5, 1 through 3. Oh, my bad. 1 Thessalonians 5, 1 through 3.
This is the book of 1 Thessalonians, chapter 5.
This goes with Cap is saying how it's going to be rapid.
The book of 1 Thessalonians, chapter 5 and verse 1. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I have written unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night.
You ain't going to know. It's going to hit you real quick. Come on.
For when they shall say, peace and safety, then suddenly destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape.
So he talking about the Lord's Day, and it's going to come with all of the activity coming. It could come it could come at any time. They talking about Poland now. Poland's getting ready to enter it because the Russian is walking over the Ukrainians at a rate that's it's unfathomable. They're just taking over the whole continent for them, the whole nation. And so it could come like Mr. Ritter is saying there. one mistake, somebody, the Ukrainians get really ticked off and shoot a bomb at Russia, one of the nukes or something, it's going to be bang, bang. It's going to be rapid.
Right. And like Officer Thomas is saying, we don't know the levels of persecution. We don't know. I mean, we hope that very few of us get persecuted. It's going to happen. And by the way, it's starting to happen to some of us. Some of us are being threatened right now to lose our jobs right now. I know of a case right now. And just basically coming after them. So that's persecution. It's persecution if you get locked up in jail, if you can't get a job, if you, no matter what you do, you're targeted. That's going to happen. Some of our brothers have been in jail. The point is that it can happen, and it probably will happen in our lifetime, whether it be 10 years, who knows? The point is, we got to get our minds right. And I know that I need mercy. We all need mercy because every one of us have character flaws, and every one of us is battling with certain things. Anger can creep up on you. Okay? Resentment, grudging, okay? A non-forgiving spirit. All these things are on. Pornography. That's a lot of married men too, not just the single brothers. Drunkenness. Heavy drug use. It's got y'all, as y'all get more rank, you don't understand. The level that you have to deal with what we go through. We have a nation. There's so many of us. I'm never going to tell the enemy our number, but we are growing and we're a nation and we have problems. We're living in the last days. As we go on with this, McGregor's going to highlight it. Like, yes, it didn't happen, but they were this close this week to having it happen. This week. Now, the Lord obviously didn't allow it to happen. But now, play on. We're going to finish these time sets. We're going to close out.
Alistair Crookwell, according to his sources, the Israeli pilots confronted some sort of defensive posture with which they were unfamiliar and which confused their radar. What does this tell you?
Well, first of all, my information suggests that they only had 2 waves structured for operations. Maybe there were 3. I have no idea. Secondly, I'm not sure what the rationale was for breaking off the attack. It's certainly plausible that they may have discovered that they were up against a far more technologically sophisticated opponent than they had anticipated. I've always been concerned about that because we have this unfortunate tendency to dismiss Iranians as just more underdeveloped people. Well, that's absolutely wrong. You're talking about an extraordinary talent in cyberspace and certainly missile.
Some of the Tehran has great universities, and don't lose that timestamp, please. Some of the best engineers, mathematicians come out of Iran.
Right.
And they learned during the Iran-Contra, remember that, in the 70s? They learned and prepared and set it up because they saw what happened with Iraq, their neighbor. They saw how Iraq got invaded, Iraq 1, Iraq 2. They saw, in fact, these people are smart, they're planning, and they're technologically advanced. Part of that wave of 180, some were drones, and they breached the Iron Dome with low-level missile grades. They said if they wanted to touch you with the hypersonic, they could have blew Israel. They could have blew them up. But unlike, and I'll say this, Israelis' heart are being hardened by God. They have the potential with, by the way, Russia backs them with weaponry and also some of their technology. Why? Look how close they are. Okay? And guess what? Iran was at the BRICS summit on October 24th, which is last Thursday.
Right.
Y'all got to see what the hell's going on.
Was China there too?
You think, hell yeah, shit. Yes, excuse my language. Listen, Israel, get with the program, Thomas.
I was just about to say that there's an article out saying Iran they trying to increase their military up to 200%, their military budget up to 200%. So they definitely are gearing up, getting ready to go to war.
Right, and if we have more time, I wanted to bring that out, but hell of a point, showing you that the way that the U.S. sees, when I say the U.S., I'm talking about white people in government, like Rudy Giuliani at a rally was saying, oh, Palestinians, the time they're 2 years old, they're just trying to kill Americans. Well, you destroyed them. If you go in someone's house and burn their house down, kill their children, and leave one survivor, he's not supposed to be indignant and angry as hell? Come on, man. Play on McGregor.
Talent in cyberspace and certainly missile and rocket technology. So that may have been the case. There are others who are suggesting that Mr. Netanyahu was responding to pressure exerted by President Biden and his team in the White House. Given the behavior of Netanyahu to this point, that seems to me to be unlikely. In fact, what I'm hearing is that the Israelis are already trying to put together another strike. If anything, they want to escalate from this point forward. So, I
pause. Why? Because God is putting it in their hearts to bring on Mageddon, to bring on the final battle. Hence the name of the show. Read on.
I don't have the kind of specificity that Alistair Crook has, but I can say that I think this war is going to continue for some period of time. Anybody who thinks this is over is wrong. I mean, I had people call me and say, oh, this is wonderful. Eventually, both Iran and Israel will be nuclear powers. It'll end up like India and Pakistan. I don't see that occurring at all. I think this is a fight to the finish. And I think the Israelis have begun to figure it out. Whether or not that's going to make any difference in the short run, I can't say.
Well, if it's a fight to the finish, what is the likelihood that Russia and the United States will be involved?
It's very...
Drum roll. He says, what is the likelihood of the United States and Russia being involved? Well, we know that the likelihood, according to prophecy, is it's going to happen. They're just reinforcing. This guy is saying he's an honest strategist, and he's a white guy. He's like, look, this is what's going to go down. Watch what he says.
I think the likelihood is high. And that's one of the reasons why, you know me, I've been arguing against this for years.
Right.
We don't want to be involved in a war with a continental power. We cannot win wars against continental powers. A great continental power like Russia, it's impossible. Or for that matter, Iran. All you have to do is look at the size and the distance. The task is overwhelming. We are primarily an air and naval power, and we have very, very small ground forces, most of which are not equipped for high-end conventional warfare on the Eurasian continent. So the idea is crazy. We shouldn't even consider it. But right now, we're sitting still and taking orders from Mr. Netanyahu, and he seems to want to continue.
The reason why they're taking orders from Netanyahu, because America has an interest, like we read before, Jeremiah in 54 about the least of the flock will draw them out. Well, guess what? If the least of the flock, do they really have control over the U.S.? But because the least is still part of their band of brothers, they're not going to let them go out because they have interest in them. So the least of the flock is going to get in a position where they can't overcome, and Big Brother is going to be drawn out. We're going to see that, and we're seeing it once. We almost saw it this last Sunday. If they had a launch at the nuclear facilities in Iran, it would have been a very tough day for all of us here. Okay? Next timestamp.
Is there any benefit to the United States of America to the continued support of the slaughter in Gaza?
No, of course not. And the whole world is shocked. We were always seen as being on the other side of that issue, as being absolutely fundamentally opposed under any and all circumstances to the mass murder and expulsion of people from anything, from anywhere, regardless of race, color, religion, or anything else. We have been utterly opposed to that. We opposed the Armenian genocide during World War I. Our ambassador did everything he could to save as many Armenians as possible. We were never willing to go along with anything like this.
Pause. Just to be clear, he's speaking from a white privileged perspective because that's not true, because if it wasn't for the international white community, the civil rights movement would have made the world stage. They bombed Tulsa, Oklahoma. They destroyed many black cultural advanced town like Rosewood, Florida. They mass murdered at a place called Kill Devil's Punch Bowl. They killed and threw our people in the valley and buried them and let them die and buried them in piles. Lake Lanier, okay? They flooded a whole town. America has a history of genocide, slavery, Jim Crow, segregation.
Right.
What he's talking about is he's in his white mind, which the guy's telling the truth, but he's like, I can't believe my government used to, under Teddy Roosevelt, we used to really try to help people around. And he's realizing, and I believe that when these Edomites go to bed, I believe deep down, they know that their people are going to have to pay. He's telling the truth. He's like, this is wrong. And as a race, Caucasians have never had to pay for their crimes. As a whole, like we have paid for our crimes and then some. Okay? The Arabs have been paying for their, Esau has not. All right? Play on.
Circumstance. The same thing in Cambodia. This is the problem that I have with people that say, well, why aren't you supporting Israel? I have damn well supported Israel. I would like Israel to survive. This is a path to destruction. This is not the Israel that I know. This is something very different.
Here is a statement from a United States senator, the likes of which I have not heard from anyone in either house of the Congress since October 7th of 2023, and he happens to be Jewish. Cut number 6.
Great. So remember, this is Bernie Sanders. He's Jewish. Don't let that. This is a Jewish man. Now, so you can't call him anti-Semitic even from their standard. Can you call a Jewish man anti-Semitic who's about to tell on other Zionist Jews in Israel for what they're doing? Let's let him tell you. Play.
That there are millions of Americans who disagree with President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris on the terrible war in Gaza. I am one of them. It did not have the right to wage an all-out war against the entire Palestinian people. It did not have the right to kill 42,000 Palestinians, 2/3 of whom were children, women, and the elderly, or injure over 100,000 people in Gaza. It did not have the right to destroy Gaza's infrastructure, housing, and healthcare system. It did not have the right to bomb every one of Gaza's 12 universities. It did not have the right to block humanitarian aid, causing massive malnutrition in children and, in fact, starvation. And that is why I am doing everything I can to block U.S. military aid and offensive weapons sales to the right-wing extremist Netanyahu government in Israel.
We're at the tail end of 3-4 months, depending upon when you say it started, presidential election campaign. The whole House of Representatives and 1/3 of the Senate is up, and hundreds of local offices. I haven't heard anybody saying anything who's running for office quite like that. Have you?
No, I wish we would hear it from every member of the House and the Senate.
And what they're actually doing is they're spreading out what you're not supposed to do, Israeli flags on the Senate floor and on the Congress floor. And they're saying their own personal sentiment. I don't know if we played a clip of that before. Bernie Sanders is saying what every person should be saying. And this is why when Jewish people speak about themselves, they never get labeled as, what's the word? Anti-Semitic. It's amazing. So just to show you, any more times? Are we good on that? Okay. Is there one more time step or is that it? Okay. Let it play out and we're going to close out, brothers.
Sanders is someone who has been courageous on this matter on more than one occasion. The whole thing is baffling to me. The Lancet journal in Great Britain, as you're aware, the medical journal, very respected, being there for over 100 years, has reported 189,000 casualties in Gaza.
Well, what does that mean? Does that mean?
That's what Officer Yasser was just saying. See, we're told 42,000. It's the whole blocks are leveled. There's so many people that never made it out the rubble. You couldn't count them.
Right.
You can look at roles and city population and realize we're missing this whole population of people. Listen to what he's saying, and this is why if you don't think Arabs, this is why we showed you. What would make someone go from a very warm country and now he's crossing from Canada to Vermont? These things are happening now.
Right.
These things are happening now, y'all. Okay? Play on. We almost done.
Sir, does that mean death plus injury total?
Both killed and wounded.
Okay.
And pointed out that more than half of the killed and wounded were women and children. And of course, these bombings continue and the situation worsens. There will be more dead before we're through, a lot more dead, because there is no interest under any circumstances in Israel to stop this. Only we can do that. Nobody else can. Now, I suppose potentially, if the Muslim world consolidates into a true...
Pause, and this is where we're going to stop right now. Get the last scripture, 2 Ezra chapter 15. He said, and I quote, supposedly, if the Muslim world would to be consolidate means to come down to one. If I consolidate all different departments into one department, that's one mind, is a consolidation. It's gonna happen. And a lot of them know that. Read.
This is the book of 2 Ezra, chapter 15 and verse 31.
Thanks for bearing. It was a pretty quick show, a lot of information, fast pace. Read.
And then shall the dragons have the upper hand.
The dragons are the dragons of Arabia. Why? Because they are the sons of Ishmael. Read.
Remembering their nature.
What is their nature? Ishmael would be a wild man in the book of Genesis. We've covered that many times. Read on.
And if they shall return themselves, conspiring together in great power.
So wait, they're gonna say it. Read it again. The last part again.
And they shall turn themselves, conspiring together.
Conspiring together is the consolidation. When you conspire, I know we were divided before. My brother, I know you did business with the U.S., but you see, they've killed 200,000 in Palestine, 40,000 in Lebanon. We will be next. We must come together. Remember who you are. Read.
In great power.
In what?
In great power.
Right. And guess who's one of the great powers? One of the great powers is Iran, backed by Russia. Another great power is Saudi Arabia. And they're the most wealthy of all the Arab nations. You can look that up. And they're in the middle right now. They're going to come and join the other Arabs. It's only a matter of time. Read.
To persecute them.
Persecute them. Read on.
Then these shall be troubled and keep silence through their power.
Right.
And shall flee. And from the land of the Assyrians.
Where's from the land of Assyrians, there's a part it goes into, we should be finishing up right now. And it talks about they shall remember their nature. Did we read that yet?
Yes, sir.
We read that already. What about the Carmanians raging in wrath?
That's verse 30. You want 29?
29 and 30, please.
Okay.
Closing out here.
The book of 2 Ezra, chapter 15, verse 29. Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia.
That's what I want. The nations of the dragons of Arabia. The Arabian Peninsula is Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Oman, all of that. Okay? Persian Gulf. Read.
Shall come out with many chariots.
Many chariots. Now that's ancient talk. Chariots for vehicles. They're going to come out with all type of war vehicles, weaponry. Okay? Read on.
And the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth.
Right, they're going to move swiftly. They're not going, in that day, they're not going to be divided. Read.
That all they which hear them may fear and tremble.
And the Israelis are starting to tremble right now. Read on.
Also the Carmanians.
Now that's talking about the Iranians. Read on.
Raging in wrath.
Why? Because they're trying to tell the U.S. right now, we don't want a problem. That's why when they send the 180 missiles, they literally attacked non-residential places. And they showed you, look, we can touch you. We don't want no problem. They're going to get to the point, you're going to start bombing Tehran and other, they're going to be raging with wrath. Read on.
Shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood.
Right. Once a wild boar, you can't change a wild boar's mind. Pull up a video with a hunter. Not literally, but just look at a video. Read.
And with great power shall they come and join battle with them.
With who? the dragons of Arabia. That is the whole Middle East. And Russia is joined with them. So with that, Israel, no fat back. Hey, you brothers, you lard asses, lose the weight. When all the men lose the weight, guess what? Then we're turning to the sisters. We got to be healthy. Get to the green. You want to stay lean, get to the green. All right? So let's take it away to the closing announcements. Oh. Yeah, so can you do the finger thing? The PayPal? So look, y'all, donate to the Booster Club. Text 646-982-3858. Make sure that you donate to the Booster Club so our prophets can travel throughout the world. Okay, some of our very own New Orleans brothers are doing the work abroad. All praise to the Most High. Okay, QR code.
We're seeking your assistance to enhance our national broadcast. Kindly spare a minute to provide feedback by answering 5 brief questions. Thank you for your support.
Shalom, Israel, Musa and Christ bless. Hey, if you would like to give alms, you could drop envelope in the alms box and via PayPal, IUIC New Orleans at israelunite.org, or give to the Booster Club via PayPal, IUIC.fundraising at israelunite.org. All right? Appreciate the support.
All praise to the Most High. Thank you. We went over by a little bit tonight. A lot of information. Guess what? Next Thursday, Lord will life last, there's going to be more and more unfolding. Okay? A lot went down. Then watch the news. Watch sources that are non-Caucasian American. I'm sorry. It is what it is. You got to search for your news. So with that, precept upon precept, with that, we all say shalom.
There's a special place that I like to go when nobody's home to increase my understanding. My daily bread, bread amazing. I'm talking about precepts. Precept on precept, line upon line, line. Precept on precept, line upon line, line. I can't keep explaining, can't study for you.